when you were dating and your mother said, watch for red flags, and you didn't? Well, you know the end result. Well, the same thing happens when you're looking to buy a house. It is so easy to walk into a home and fall in love with that gorgeous ceramic bathtub that you miss all the other red flag signs that are out there. So let's just talk about a couple of those. One, you should always be looking at what are the age of the major mechanicals. Now, it's okay if they're older because that may be incorporated and embedded in the price, but you at least want to understand how old the roof is, how old the HVAC is, how old the water heater is, how old the appliances in the kitchen, right? All of those things so that you can factor that into your budgeting. The second thing is you want to look around the house and say, how well has this house been maintained? Is it something where they put some lipstick on it right before they put it on the market to make it look good? But if you actually look behind, it's dirty and things haven't been serviced, that's a red flag. And the third thing that you should look for is, have they done anything to hide any problems that may have occurred, like a leak, for example, or flooding in the basement, and have they painted over it to where it's not as obvious to someone who's not really looking for it? So if you are a buyer, you are paying a lot of money these days for houses, be sure to really open your eyes, like your mother said, and look for those red flags. If you saw my red flag videos for buyers, sellers, this video is for you. Now remember, when you were starting to date, your mom always said, watch for red flags. And when you didn't, you know the end result. So sellers, if you are selling your home in this market, you likely are being presented with multiple offers and maybe saying, how do I make sure that I pick the right one that's going to get me to settlement? Now, of course, you'll be working with your realtor and they'll be helping to provide some guidance in terms of how to compare the offers. There are 3 red flags that I want you to look for. The first is, who is the lender? Is it actually a local lender where they've reviewed the applicant's paperwork, where they've been able to even maybe put them through a pre-underwriting process? Or did the buyer go online to one of these online lenders, input some of their information, get a pre-approval letter, but it says subject to the review of all documentation? Those are not the same, and that is a red flag. The number 2 red flag is, how well has the contract been put together? Now, this is something that you're going to have to ask your realtor for because they may be creating a spreadsheet for you that compares all of the offers. But if the one that's jumping out at you had a lot of errors in it or omissions, that's a red flag to me. Why? Well, because if the buyer's agent was so quick and put together that contract with haste, did they actually take the time to sit down and really walk the buyer through all the different parts of the contract and what they were waiving or what they were including or not including? You want the buyer to fully understand the contract so that they are going to get not only the contract, but also get from there to settlement. And then the third red flag is a small EMD. And the reason that I say that is the EMD is not the whole picture, but the earnest money deposit does communicate to you, the seller, how serious that buyer is about buying your home. And a larger EMD is more skin in the game. So if you are a seller out there, be sure to look for those red flags. Don't miss them because you are going to want to get from contract to settlement and have a celebration at closing. So be sure to like and subscribe and join me next week for Coffee with Kelly.